It encapsulates.
So the competition. Welcome. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Meet the Miniaturist Sunday. Glad to see everybody joining. Please let me know that you can hear me. Let me know in the comment section that you're here. I'd love to know if folks are first-time attendees. Let me know if that's who you are in the chat box. Welcome, everybody who's joining. Good to see everybody. I'm going to get my chat box. Oh, I can't see the chat box. I don't know why. Why can't I see the chat box? Hold on. I don't know. Oh, there it is, because I'm not looking for it. Welcome, everybody. Good to see everybody. Hi, Sharon. Hey, Eleanor. Eleanor's from Whidbey Island. That's over on the other coast. Hi, Benny. UK on the line. Great to see you, Gail. Hi, Mindy. Hey, Jamaica. Great to see. I love the international crowd. So good to see you guys. South Dakota, that's a new state for me. Good to see everybody. If you're just joining, say hello in the chat box. Welcome to this Meet the Miniaturist. Good to see everybody on this Sunday. We're just going to wait a minute while participants are arriving still. Let me know where you're joining from. Let me know if this is your first time on a Meet the Miniaturist. So excited to see everybody. Great to see everybody. Hey, New York. Hi, Lori. Atlanta in the house. Good to see you. Oh, first timer, Elizabeth. Great to see you. Canadians. I'm so glad to see my Canadian friends here. Good. All right, with that, I'm going to open this up first and foremost by saying my heart goes out to the folks in Ukraine. Praying for this to all be over soon and for everybody to be safe. And I'm sure folks in the chat box agree, and people who are in here. I mean, I have friends in the miniatures world who I follow who are right there in the middle of it all. So I'm hoping and praying this ends quickly. And I'm thinking so much about all of the people in Ukraine. So yeah, with that, I do want to welcome folks to this Meet the Miniaturist. You know, I talk about, miniatures, and we, at least folks who are really into them, that this is our sanction. This is what we've turned to, especially in times of like needs. Like, we love our miniatures. So I always tell people to really find the joy in miniatures, because when things are really bad, maybe you can at least turn to miniatures. So find the joy in miniatures. I do want to start with a little bit of the housekeeping and what's going on in the miniatures world. A couple of things are happening. There's the Tom Bishop show in Chicago. Please don't forget, that's coming up quick in April. If you are a show goer, book your hotel room, because those are the first things that get booked up quickly. There's a show in Dallas, which is happening June 24th. I've never been to the Dallas show, but I've heard good things about it. And then finally, it's never too early to talk about the Guild show, which is happening in September. So look for that. Get it on your calendars, get things planned and ready to go, because the show season's starting, and before you know it, it's there, and you might be locked out if you don't have accommodations and airline tickets booked and all that kind of stuff. So welcome if you're just joining to this Meet the Miniaturist. If you don't know who I am, I'm Darren Scala, and I have this little miniatures business that I love so much. I promote miniatures every chance I can get. I'm passionate about these little things. I also sell miniatures. So in fact, right here over to my left, your right, I have this beautiful dollhouse, which is on sale right now. If you head over, we're going to put a link in the box. Say hello to Donald, who's behind the scenes helping today and every Meet the Miniaturist. Thank you, Donald. We're going to put a link in the chat box if you're interested in making an offer on this beautiful piece. I want to tell you that there is today's live stream is going to be great, but another one is happening on Thursday. This Thursday, it's a special evening edition of Meet the Miniaturist. If you don't know who Eugene Cupchak is, check out the Thorne Room Miniatures at the Chicago Art Institute. Eugene Cupchak and Narcissa Thorne, they are iconic in the miniatures world. Eugene Cupchak had two sons, Hank and Jay. Hank is no longer with us, but Jay is with us, and the two of them are the sons of Eugene Cupchak, and they learned everything from their father, who was a master miniaturist and made miniatures, beautiful miniatures. And those are going on display, or they're on display right now in a gallery called Gallery Victor in Chicago. We're going to get a private walkthrough of that gallery on Thursday night. We're going to put the link in the bio. We're going to put a link in the chat box for you to join, to register. You're not going to want to miss that. It's a rare opportunity to see these beautiful miniatures, but also Jay Cupchak's going to be there himself. Not often that you get to chat with Jay Cupchak. He's just as iconic in the miniatures world as his father was. They do beautiful work. He and his brother did beautiful work. But if you miss any of these Meet the Miniaturist, you can always head to my YouTube channel. I post replays there. Check those out. I'm also hosting next Saturday. As I mentioned, I sell miniatures, and I'm always on the lookout for collections. And so I have a webinar happening next Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. If you're thinking about selling a collection, or you know someone who you'd like to act on behalf of to sell a collection, head over to this webinar that I'm doing, because I'm going to basically talk about all of your options if you are interested in selling a collection. So not only if you decide to work with me to sell your collection, but really going through all of the options so that you can really make the best decision for you, maybe for your family member, for a friend who's looking to sell a miniatures collection. So Selling Your Adored Collection webinar next Saturday, the 5th of March. We'll put the link in the bio. But you can always follow me on all my social media channels. That's where you'll get to know what's going on. But if you want to know everything that's really, really important, sign up for my email blast on my website. And then you'll really know what's going on. And finally, I have a patrons club. It is the D. Thomas Patrons Club. So if you want to support any of my content, including this Meet the Miniaturist series, I have a Patrons Club. We're going to put a link in the bio. It's a pay-as-you-go kind of thing. It's not like a Patreon account. You can really just drop in whatever amount you want. You're automatically joined, and you'll get access to exclusive content, exclusive sort of events and live streams. In fact, we just had one on Thursday night. The iconic, they're all iconic, Annelle Ferguson, who is, she's a maker, she's an artist, she's an author, she's a teacher. I had a great chat with her for the Patrons Club last week. And if you join my Patrons Club now, I'll send you a link so you can watch the replay. But anyway, so it's things like that. So really deep dive into the miniatures world through the Patrons Club for some real exclusive events. So look for that. And with that, I do want to get this Meet the Miniaturist started, because I'm so excited for today, for so many reasons. But if you guys don't know, there is a fantastic show called Best in Miniature, which is happening right now in Canada and the UK. So this is it's a reality-based TV show. It's pitting 11 contestants against one another in a race to build their dream miniature house. Dream miniature house. I'm gonna go ahead and just give you a little, if you haven't seen this, this promo, check it out.
An epic competition of tiny proportions. Make it many. 11 elite miniatures from around the world.
Oh my gosh, I am here.
Compete to craft their dream homes, one tiny room at a time.
Here we go. So painful.
Constructing painstakingly detailed houses in the tiniest of scales in just mere hours.
I'm a trooper. I keep going, and I'm not going to stop.
And they'll do this, all under the watchful eyes of the judges.
I'm quite intimidated by that.
Miniature guru, Emma Waddell.
I'm loving the story that you're telling us, not just with your skill, but with your imagination.
And interior design expert, Michael Lambie.
I love the fantastic use of space.
Will decide who will walk away with a world-renowned residency and a grand prize valued at $15,000.
Pressure, pressure, pressure.
Who doesn't like winning?
And whose tiny dream will come to
Go tiny or go home.
I'm Mcdonald, and this is Best in Miniature.
So if you haven't at least seen that, this is just so exciting. It's exciting for the miniatures world. I'm excited to chat with some of the contestants on that show now. We don't know yet if that's going to be airing here in the US. So we're going to try to keep as many of the spoilers we're going to try to keep spoilers at a minimum to none. But essentially, what I wanted to do was have a chat with some of these contestants that are on the show, so that folks can get an understanding of who they are as artists and miniatures, as opposed to show contestants. So keep that in mind. So we're going to go through each of the contestants who are here today now, and then in a little bit after I get through with each of them, we're going to bring them all up. So keep your questions to a minimum now, but when we bring everybody up, please feel free to ask questions. We'll try to get to as many of them as possible in the chat box. But with that, I would love to bring up my first guest, Susan Mattinson, who hails from Canada, Nova Scotia. Hi, Susan. So
Hello.
Yay. She has a really powerful mic, which I'm so jealous about. So I've been following you for years before you even came on here. I'm just struck not by only your miniatures, but you've got a great sense for putting things together and showing them, which is one of the things that, that I was struck by, that how you show your miniatures and how you show your work is just so wonderful. So thank you for joining. I'm really, really happy to have you here. You're also one of the miniaturists who got a lot of great press being up in Canada.
I did.
You did. I'm just struck by all of that. So tell me a little bit about your experience in the show and a little bit about your project.
Sure. So, I am in Nova Scotia. So Atlantic Canada, we love our celebrities. So when I did get a lot of press here in the Maritimes, but I'd only been making miniatures since 2018, but I was really crafty leading up to that. So I was surprised to end up on the show. And I was very excited to be chosen. And I knew that it would be a huge learning curve. I had never even built a dollhouse from like a flat pack kit. So to design a house, like the blueprints for it and cut pieces and hope that it all fit together when it was full sized. It was a real challenge in the math and stuff. And then when I did show up and see who the other competitors were, I was familiar with many of their work already from Instagram. And it was also very daunting. So it was a very new experience, but a very wonderful experience.
We're actually showing some of your work now. You have a very broad range of miniature making skills. Like it's not just you make structure, you make miniature items itself. I see sweaters in there. Like what first attracted you to miniatures? Like where did you start?
I think because I've always dabbled in everything, even in full size, like I'm the type of person who sees something doing something beautiful and then says, I want to try that. And so I was like a jack of all, master of none. But because I had most often done knitting, that's what I scaled down first was how can I take something that I knew fairly well how to do on a normal scale, and can I just make it smaller and smaller. So that's kind of where it started. But I am trying to be across the board in my skills and constantly taking classes. And I'll be going to the guild school this summer. And I'm constantly trying to broaden my skill base as a student going to the guild. That's not a spoiler or anything. Anybody can go to the guild school if they apply to take classes. So so I'm constantly growing my skills across miniature disciplines.
Yeah. Well, your work is fantastic. I love seeing your work. You have a very active Instagram account. We're going to go ahead and pop your link tree in there because you've got a lot going on. You have a YouTube channel too, right?
I do. Yeah. And I'm hoping to make that more of a priority this year. I'm no longer working full time. I'm only working part time. So it gives me more space and energy to dedicate to miniatures. And I really want to do more tutorials and videos helping to introduce people to the hobby and learn new skills and troubleshoot things. So that's a priority for me for sure. But the link tree will send you anywhere you want to go, whether that's Instagram or the website or my Etsy shop or YouTube.
That was going to be my next question. So folks can find you on Etsy should you have pieces available. And do you take commissions as well?
I do. Yeah, I do take commissions. Awesome. Yes.
Awesome. Oh my God, Susan, you're awesome. Thanks so much for chatting with us. In the meantime,
you're welcome.
We're going to bring up Shello. Now, guys might remember Shello from, we recently had an open studio event, and Shello was on, and we got to learn a little bit about her. So if you missed that, go back and see it. Hi, Shello. Good to see you.
Hi.
Thank you for joining today. Very, very excited. Oh, I might have gone out of turn, but that's fine, right? You're ready. Thank you, Donald.
I'm good.
Up with that. So you are a Canadian-based maker, which, I mean, it makes sense that there are a number of Canadian-based folks. This is a Canadian show. And so you were on my recent open studio event, so people got a little bit of a taste for what you do, but you're really, really good at turning pottery. Can you talk a little bit about, was that like your secret ability?
It started with an obsession. I was introduced in the show as a mini ceramic specialist. I'm not a specialist, but I'll accept it. Yeah, maybe that's why I get into the show because of my pottery skills. But yeah, I'm multidisciplinary as well, so I could do other miniature. But
Well,
I didn't
talk a little bit about
realize
that.
it
Yeah.
until I have been in the show.
Well, that was going to be my question. So talk a little bit about how the show might have stretched your abilities and your skill sets. Like,
Yeah. More than like 80% in the show I haven't done before. Those things like the bed, like the couch, dining table. I haven't done that before, but I know how things work whenever I see them. But yeah, that's one of my challenges because I haven't done anything before, and in the show I have to make it. I have no excuse of not making it. So
talk a little bit about your vision going into the show, because that was the basis for everything. So the structure of the house was
it's a container house. I made a replica of it.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's a
mini
replica
version.
Yeah, I don't have a space for a 1:12 right now, so I made a replica.
Awesome.
The inspiration is it's all I can afford right now because it's affordable. And I'm more on the sustainability, inspiration. It's like a recycled, it's recycled shipping home, and then it's affordable, and then more on sustainability, and I'm actually researching about it because we're considering of having it in the future. So when I got into the show, I want to make this shipping container home. So there, I made it.
So it all worked out. Awesome. So that was the basis for everything that had to go in the house. So did you have that in the back of your head? Like, okay, I'm going to have to make stuff that matches, that works with the house.
Yeah, the interior, it's still a modern container home. So my aesthetic is more on modern and contemporary, trendy. So my interior should match the whole vibe. And I think I pretty made a good job. I did it good. I think.
I think just for folks getting on to a national reality-based TV show, it says so much already about your skills and your abilities. So congratulations just on that.
Thank you.
So what is next for you? I know we can find you. You have an Etsy shop, and you make pottery for your Etsy shop, and things sell very quickly, right?
25 minutes and they're all gone because I only make a shop drop. I don't stock up on my Etsy shop. So when I promote it like 2 weeks before, looking forward to it. So when I make a shop drop, then it's gone in a day. So
got it. So we can find you. We're going to put your Instagram account in there. We'll put, I know you have 2 Instagram accounts. We're going to put both those in there, and your
yes.
People need to find you. Can they DM you? Can they reach out?
Yes,
Awesome.
they can.
All right. Well, thank you for this little interview.
Thank
we're gonna bring you back.
you.
So hang in, stay tuned. We're going to bring you back, but we're going to bring Kat up.
Right.
So sorry for that, Gitch, but you were good. Shella was really on it because I mixed up the order, but that's fine. We're going to bring Kat up. So let me just close off this. Close this. Oh, I can't even see this. Hold on. Stop and share. There she is. Hi, Kat. How are you?
How are you?
So, I've been following you for a long time. I've been following your YouTube channel for a long time because you started doing these awesome tutorials. Isn't that right? Is that how you began? Uh-oh, did we freeze?
Long ago when I was my son's age.
Oh, is that right? But see, that's when I saw your work and your abilities was back then. So you've been doing this for a while. How long have you been making miniatures?
Since I was 12. I'm not gonna give you any age.
And now you're 14.
But but yeah, since I was 12 for sure.
So you call yourself a mom, a miniaturist, and occasionally YouTube. You're feisty, vocal, and use profanity with abandon. How was it to control that on the show?
I thought I did a good job, but apparently I didn't. So I'm not really sure. I actually haven't seen it just yet, but
Well,
I did
saw
see
it on
like the
YouTube,
first
and
two episodes and I heard one.
you just come off as pure adorable, period,
Well,
full
thank you.
stop. So I don't
No,
get
no.
any, yeah, you were just adorable the whole time. All right, so the name of your channel is Real Life Miniatures. So talk a little bit about the kind of miniatures you make. Do they revolve around real life, and what gets you inspired?
Well, honestly, I do use a few people's art from real life. Whenever I use an inspiration piece, I try to show that on the channel. Because I'm not, as much as this is going to sound really weird, I'm not a creative. Like, I don't think of things to do. But I love to see what other people do, and then in real life, and then try to recreate it, if that makes any sense. So I'm always just looking at unique pieces of furniture, which is really what I like. But outside of furniture, I do accessories like you're seeing, and some occasional foods and train scale.
Yeah, I mean, your skills are pretty broad. I mean, you go from food to structure to plants and all that. I mean, those are all different disciplines within the miniatures world. So you are really capturing real life, because it's a cross sampling of so many different things. So you said furniture. What is it that you love to make? I mean, it looks like you love to make everything, because look how beautiful these pieces are.
I love to make everything.
What else
to say? Now, I love coffee tables. That seems to be I know that sounds weird.
Where'd that come from?
Well, you tend to find really static, staid kind of coffee tables that are like squares, rounds, ovals, and I like things that are different, like that light up or have some sort of optical illusion to them, or anything else, So I love those the best.
And what are you working on like right now? Anything? And can you show it?
Everything. I have all kinds of things going on.
Okay, talk about that. Say that again.
I've said I'm fragmented. I go everywhere, the same as my range. I just kind of like go from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. Yeah.
Do you have different projects going on at any one time?
Yes.
So you work like that.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, Mary said that cake looks great. She wants a taste. Absolutely, the cake was beautiful. So do you sell your work?
Yes, I have an Etsy, but it's honestly a new thing for me. I just started Etsy.
Okay.
Fairly much after the show,
Yeah. All right. So we're going to pop your information in the chat box. So if folks need to reach out to you if they want a commission, or if they want a piece redone, are you open to that?
Yes, but
What?
I tend to be a little slow on commissions, so just
that's good. Yeah, I mean, as long as you're honest with customers.
I'm honest, very honest. Yes, I won't. Yeah.
I mean, I think real buyers understand the artist's process, and that, and if they really want a piece, they'll just have to wait for it. That's how I feel. Just have to wait for it. Oh my goodness. Well, I have to be honest, I only caught 3 of the episodes, so I haven't seen the whole series myself, but I did see, at least the first few, and what I saw from you was just so wonderful, and all the contestants. So, well, thank you, and stand by, because you're going to come back afterwards with us when we do a round robin. We can do the Brady Bunch thing. That's what we're calling it, the Brady Bunch thing. So while we transition, we're bringing on Tina Mcdonald. Tina is also from Canada. She's been making miniatures. Hi, Tina.
Hello.
Making miniatures since 1970. Thank you so much for being on today. So you actually are the oldest contestant on the show.
Oh, by about 25 years, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that. What was that like when you said, yes, I'm going to do this?
Well, actually, getting on the show was a great surprise to me, because I was contacted by the company asking me to circulate their request for people. And I was curious about how they actually did this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I put my name in, and much to my surprise, got selected as a contestant.
Yeah.
I think they were looking for a broad range of people. So
Yeah.
I don't know whether I was there to represent the old folks, or to represent the disabled folks, or to represent the name and the IGMA folks, because I was the only one of all 4 of those things.
Well, I think you were there to represent the talented folks, because you're absolutely beautiful. I'm going to show the screen now and share a little bit of your work. What I found was a lot of your work ties into storytelling, which is such an important part of miniatures, and making miniatures is telling stories. Talk a little bit about your piece and how it told a story.
Well, I somehow missed the memo that said we were supposed to be building our dream house, because my house is set in the mid 1600s, and there's a witch and a wizard that live in it. Retired folks like me, old folks like me, not too much money like me. They're living there with a baby dragon that they have adopted. So it wasn't like my dream house. Although the judges asked me about that, and I said, well, I suppose if I lived in 1650 and I was a witch, this would be my dream house.
Yeah.
It was great fun to do it because you're right about the storytelling. I cannot build a house unless I know who lives in it, because how can you furnish it? How can you? And it's led me down some really peculiar paths because of that desire to know about who lives there.
So you have been around miniatures for a long time. Before we got on, we talked about how you have been at the Guild School for 15 years. You've gone to 15 Guild schools. So you've been around for a while. I wanted to ask you, what changes in the miniatures world have you seen over that period, good or bad?
Well, I think the most dramatic thing that I've seen, the first thing that happened when I met all the other competitors was to discover that I was the only person that came from sort of the traditional miniatures community, if I can call it that.
Yeah.
These folks were all Instagram, TikTok. And one of the things that I think is of concern to me or of interest to me is how to get these two communities together. That's the introduction of the internet.
Yeah.
That was a huge change. One of the things that's changed is most of the brick and mortar stores have disappeared. And I think that's really unfortunate. Now, maybe this is just a personal thing, because I got into miniatures because my husband and I went for a walk on our honeymoon, and I passed a miniature shop and went in and was absolutely enthralled.
Yeah.
And he sat there, being a brand new husband, he had to be nice to me, right? So he sat there and waited, and we left and went on to Hawaii, and I never thought much more about it. About 3 weeks later, after we got home, a massive box arrived. He bought me a dollhouse.
Yeah.
I would not be in the miniatures world if I had not walked into that brick and mortar store. The downside of the internet is you got to know what you're looking for before you can find it.
Yeah, that's very true. And that's really good insight. We did have the brick and mortar shops before. Now we have only the internet, and nothing will ever replace the touchy-feely and seeing in person. But we're grateful to have at least the internet. And I'm excited by some of the excitement I'm seeing and the energy around some of the shows lately. So it's about getting some of these younger folks over to the shows to see stuff in person. Tina, thank you so much for your insights and for sharing your story with us. And come back in a bit when we bring everybody back up. So so we're going to bring Roxanne up next. A little bit about Roxanne, Sweet City Woman. I love that name. Roxanne, hi Roxanne, good to see you. So Roxanne is a maker, restorer, and a reimagineer, which I love. And you're also Canadian, but you're so much. You're also you restore furniture, and you're also an interior decorator, an interior designer. And I've been following you for a long time, and I'm just completely blown away by your work. I'm going to share it in a second, but I want to chat a little bit about your work. And I wanted to get a little bit of your insights on your miniatures and the translation of miniatures from the interior design world to the functional. How do they relate? Do they relate? Let's look at some of your work while you're telling us that. So you have to, I'm showing some of your interior design work in miniature, which I think is just stunning. Talk a little bit about how you put these pieces together and again, going back to your interior design expertise.
Well, just a little bit of a correction. I don't have an interior design background. It was strictly restoring and reimagining furniture. Yeah, specifically vintage and antique furniture. Yeah.
Corrected.
Just in my mind, I'm an interior designer, but not professionally at all.
In person you are, because you put these pieces together beautifully. I thought you were interior decorator by trade. Okay. Wow.
No, just working with furniture. So that's where my love of miniatures actually starts.
Yeah, yeah. So how long have you been making miniatures?
Well, funny enough, I just been making them since the lockdown in 2020.
Really?
That first weekend of lockdown here in Toronto, I started making my first piece. I was gonna reproduce my living room, and I just started with a couple pieces. And then on that Monday, I showed some friends, and they said, "Oh wow, we love it." And I said, "Okay, great," because I'm just gonna do some more. So the pandemic just kept dragging on, and I just kept making more pieces, and I started posting them on Instagram, and then I just got inducted into this miniature community that I had no idea existed.
Wow.
And yeah. So when I was on the show, it was like 16 months. I think I was saying 18 months. It was only like 16 months. Next month, March, will be 2 years, 24 months that I've been.
I'm in total shock because I just love your work, and I can't believe that happened so quickly. I'm going to stop on here because I just want to say, people who make miniatures, that's one thing, but people who put them all together is another thing. I mean, you definitely have an eye for composition and making miniatures, scale, all of that. You should be very happy with what you do. And so quickly.
I'm so proud of myself. Absolutely.
You should be. So furniture restoration is really the bulk of your background in terms of hands-on crafting, if you will. It's not even crafting. How did that help you in the series?
Well, I think I understand how furniture is put together because, when you're restoring, you're taking everything apart first and putting it back together. So, I think that's how it really helped me. I know how to build something from the inside out, so, I put all the padding in there. I put all the rounded, nice, soft corners. All that is really important to me. So I think that really helped in the miniatures because I try to translate that into the pieces. So yeah, that's how it got there.
And is everything we see in here scratch built, or do you pull from other artists?
I'm really inspired by, especially mid-century modern artists. My background is fine art history, and part of that is studying architecture. And design.
Okay.
Yeah, so I really look to past designers and architects and furniture designers and this traveling also. I before COVID I traveled quite a bit, and I just love to bring into culture into my pieces and such. So yeah.
So what's next for you? You're going to stay in this? Because some people just enter the hobby and they're like, I'm done. Do you feel like this is it for you? Like you got the bug?
No. I think all the stars are pointing to keep on this path, Roxanne. You're doing great.
Good. So now,
you guys are stuck with me.
Well, you just continue to like push out beautiful stuff. It's just every time I'm like, I don't know how you do so quickly. So what's next for you? Do you sell your work?
I started an Etsy store. Actually, just before I got called onto the show, I was pulling together an Etsy store, and then I had to press pause for that. So in September, I launched an Etsy store. So, but I also like the art side of it. I'm working on a suite right now about dementia and Alzheimer's. So I'm just kind of working those two in tandem right now.
Wait, so talk a little bit about that. What does that entail?
So I have these suites that I release. So I'm now on number 5, and each one has kind of a theme. The last one I did was the biophilic one. Before then was missing and murdered Indigenous women.
When you talk about a suite, I'm sorry. When you talk about a suite, you're talking about the set that we see in each of those photographs. What's a suite?
So I have this bookcase. Yeah, so I have a bookcase. I don't have a dollhouse. I've never built a dollhouse other than for the show. So I have this bookshelf. It's very tiered. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different shelves. It's a perfect size for a room.
Yes.
So when I put something together, I put it in that shelf and I call it a suite.
Oh, and you're building, you're going to talk to these suites somehow that relates to. illness?
I try to give it a theme, some kind of social or environmental theme. So, and that whole idea actually happened. So when I was working on my second suite, the Black Lives Matter protests broke out. And so, you know, I was just kind of working through that. And I put a lot of that energy and anger and sadness into there. And I did 3 portraits, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. And, you know, the feedback that I got back was, you know, we love the space. It's contemplative, you know, it makes us pause and think a little bit. So I thought, okay, I'm on to something there. So going forward, I did that. I did an event here in Toronto called Design TO, where I did 3 miniature suites, and they all addressed a social issue that was impacted by COVID and the lockdown. So yeah, I just say, you know, everybody stops and pauses when they see miniatures. They can relate to miniatures, you know, whatever their discipline, whatever their background.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was a good medium to pack a message in there, you know, even if it's just to make people pause and think about it. You know?
For
So,
sure. And it goes back to the storytelling, which is just such an important part of what miniatures are. It's not only one thing, but it's about the storytelling. You're doing a great job. I didn't know any of that. I'm fascinated. Now I need to go back and look at all of those images on your Instagram account all over again, because it's just amazing. Thank you so much. Stand by. We're going to bring you back. In the meantime, we're going to bring up Tom Brown. How are you, Tom? Good to see you.
Good. Yes. Hi. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great to see you. Now, you've been working for a while, and I've been following you for a while. I think one of the amazing things is not only the miniatures that you create, but I think it goes back to some of the exciting content that you create around the miniatures. Can you talk a little bit about some of the things you've been doing over the last few years with food, with bar, just how you get people so into the miniatures?
Absolutely. Yeah. I kind of like rediscovered miniatures as an adult in art school, and I was doing performance practice with it. So I made a fully functioning miniature kitchen, and I would go and I would set up and make miniature food for people. And I found it kind of fulfilled this really nice dual purpose of not only getting people interested in the miniatures, but then also getting them interested in, you know, sitting down and sort of having those conversations and interacting with them. So cooking real edible food. And that has sort of led me through the progression, making videos that I post online of the process of making these foods, hosting miniature dinner parties, doing cocktail parties with my fully functional miniature bar. I just feel like it straddles this really nice space in between like art, interactivity, cuisine, and it kind of it encapsulates many of my passions. Sure.
Yeah. And I think what that's doing is it's drawing in people from other places who might not have seen it that way and getting them involved in the category. So you're doing great things. And you're also always pushing your own boundaries. So, you know, not only the miniature cooking, but now you're blowing glass. I mean, like, talk a little bit about that. What made you start to like do that? Like,
well, I think that where I come from as a maker is somebody who's really interested in learning all of the different processes that I can learn. And, you know, as I was making my miniature bar in particular, I was trying to find a specific type of miniature glassware, and I just couldn't find it anywhere. And so I realized, well, I'm going to have to make this for myself. But I think that's part of the joy of creativity and the joy of making miniatures is challenging yourself and really like pushing yourself and your abilities beyond what you were previously capable of. Because when you do sort of discover that you can do something that you didn't know that you could do before, it initiates and furthers your creative journey.
Yeah. I wanted to share this video that's online of the actual house that you did on the show. What I love about this is not only the structure itself, which is awesome, but how it ties in and relates to your family. Can you talk a little bit about that and what inspired you to do this design?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think my family is really important to me, and knowing that they would be watching this show, I was kind of considering, you know, where are the places that have been important to me throughout my life. And I knew that this cottage in particular, which is my grandparents' cottage, they've since sold it, was kind of a place that I had a little bit of my creative genesis as a child, you know, collecting rocks, sort of sifting through all of my grandparents' like antiques and knickknacks and bits and bobs. And it just became very clear to me that this was the structure that I wanted to make for the show, was this cabin. And
Yeah, it's just amazing. So
Thank
where
you.
can we find you? We're going to pop your information into the chat box. What's next for you? I mean, do you sell your work, and what's next for you?
Yeah, so I do sell my work. Right now, my sort of creative process is in a little bit of a hiatus because I'm doing my master's degree in landscape architecture. So a big thing and versus a very small thing. But come summertime, I will be restocking my Etsy store, and I have a few very special projects that I'll be putting out. My functional miniature lava lamps, which will be finally, after almost a year of development, finally hitting the market. So.
Oh, that is just amazing. Oh man. Wow. Well, that's just fantastic. Thank you so much, Tom. We're going to bring everybody's videos up now. And this is your chance, folks at home. If you have questions for these guys, we're going to do sort of a round robin. And if you have any questions about the show, I'm going to start because I have a question. And I don't know who I'm going to pick. I'm going to wait till all the videos come up, but maybe I'll ask Shello, because Shello, it was up a second ago. Shello, what do you think was the, what?
Yeah.
What do you think what do you think was the most surprising thing to you on being on the show? Like when you got there, boom, what like, whoa.
Surprising. I was surprised to see the intimidating Philip there.
So the competition.
Fun fact, Philip is like the first miniaturist whom I followed in Instagram. And I was so intimidated by him when I saw him.
Right.
And, aside from that, it just sunk into me that, oh, this is real. This is a competition, and Philip is a competition. Can I go home? I want to back out from... Yeah. Because I know how good Philip was, and...
All right.
Yeah, maybe that's the surprising thing for me. Yeah.
Competition could do it. So, all right. So, Susan, what do you think was your greatest challenge, and how did you resolve it? How did you, not specific, but the greatest challenge, and how did you overcome it?
I think I think Cello, was you that mentioned earlier that a lot of what you're doing for the first time. So was I. And when you feel that you get surrounded with so many fantastic miniaturists, you feel that pressure to step up your game. So not only are you doing stuff you haven't done, you're like trying experiments for the first time and being like, this could go really bad or it could go really good. I don't know. So, but I would say the challenge for me, the biggest challenge was the time crunch. The time crunch that you see in the show is real. And even though the work you see is phenomenal, if you look at all of our things online, our gallery of work, when we're not, time crunched, you'll see even more fantastic things. But the time crunch for me was very difficult.
Time crunch. Tina, what do you think? What do you think of the way miniatures has been presented? Do you think it was in a positive light? Because they can make miniatures look like we're all crazy.
we are all crazy. I guess the production company was learning at the same time we were. Mm-hmm. They had never done a miniature show before. Right. And so, especially in the first few episodes, there was a real tension there where they were giving us, for example, giving us crazy glue to work with leather. I mean, give me a break. We were under so much pressure. We were using things like hot glue, which I tell my students don't ever use. We couldn't use paper clay because we didn't have drying time. You can't use wood glue because you didn't have drying time. So in terms of it being a really good example to the public of how to do good miniatures, it sort of wasn't, but it sort of was because it drew you in. I mean, the artists that were there were just fabulous.
Yeah.
And what was actually created, given the time crunch, I think was phenomenal.
Awesome. Tom, what do we have? I'm going to take a question from the chat box. It's about supplies. Can you talk about, were you able to bring specific supplies? I know you had access to things. Talk a little bit about what you were able to bring versus what you were able to get, that kind of thing. And how did that help?
Yeah. So we were basically given the opportunity to request specific supplies that we wanted. I think they really wanted us to have everything there. Largely, we were able to bring a sort of a collection of our own tools. As for bringing supplies from home, though, I think that there were some things that were very specialized that people did bring with them, but largely it was what was available in like the supply area that they put together for us. And, you know, it was reasonably well stocked. Lots of different, you know, types of woods, fibers, glues, anything and everything kind of, and lots of I think lots of garbage also that people transformed into supplies as we do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all about the illusion when we make miniatures anyway. All right, so Roxanne, despite the fact that it was probably one of the most stressful experiences ever, what did you have fun, and what was the most fun part of it?
Yeah, I mean, to start, I think it was just so stressful adjusting to that crunch, because as you know, it takes us like 8 hours just to make one thing. So, you know, that adjustment was not fun. But after, you know, you start to realize, at least for me, once that stress leaves you, you become more creative. So it did become funner. You got to know the fellow contestants better. And, you know, we all got along. Everybody was so helpful and encouraging. So it was a fun environment. It really was.
Yeah, good. I'm trying to bring Lewis Bush up. He's also a contestant on the show, but we're having trouble getting his video up. So we'll keep trying. But in the meantime, does anybody want to share a specific experience from the show that we might not have touched upon? Anybody of our wonderful panelists? Or an information piece to share? Yeah.
I think it was like when you look at the final show, there's more that went wrong that you don't see. like I know while doing his electrical, Lewis actually said something, you know, smoking, or you know, like my lights. I made a rookie mistake and hooked up my fireplace lights on the same circuit as my house lights, so they all flickered. You know? So it's like they were generous to us in the show, but there's always those little stories like that of things that they didn't show in the end, and we're kind of thankful for that too.
Yeah, I'll bet. Laurie has a question about, did you get to go home at night, or did you have to go back? Like, the other thing is, you guys did this during like the height of COVID. Is that right? How did you manage that? Anybody want to take that on?
Oh, okay.
I could answer that if you want. I'm Canadian, so I only had to deal with 3 days of testing, but I was picked up at the airport, taken directly to a testing site, and then shut in a hotel.
Right.
So for 3 days. Now, we heard that there was supposed to be 12 competitors on the show. And one of them, I don't know where they're from, but during their period of isolation, they actually tested positive for COVID.
Oh, we're hearing it first here.
Yeah. So the 11 of us that were left were in a bubble. So we could interact with each other. The judges had their own bubble. We couldn't talk to them. And all the crew was all fully masked. They were very, very careful. Very careful.
Was the stage set up specifically, because you're pretty far apart? Was that done specifically that you're aware?
I have no idea, but
I think huge.
I think just to have room for all cameramen and crew to move around, and then we're running around. So just to have an ample space for everyone.
They were very conscious about the pandemic, you know, safety precautions, though. I mean, like, we were masked until the moment we stepped out onto the, you know, set, and then as soon as we left the set, we were masked. It was like impossible to keep like your makeup good, because the masks are on and off and on and off and on, and the camera crew were masked and shielded, and everybody. So it was the distance was probably that, because there was a lot of equipment, but they were very cognizant of the rules.
Yeah, I have to say the stage was beautiful. It was beautifully shot. I think all of the photographs that you guys are seeing in some of these little slideshows, beautiful. David Levy's, I think his name is.
Lies.
Beautifully shot. Just so stylized beautifully. Really, really well done. You guys have been an awesome group to chat with. Thank you so much for being here today. I want to encourage everybody, if you can, and there's some chat on here about VPNing, I'm not endorsing or denying, but there are ways to go see it if you really have to. So check out the chat box on VPNs and access. But we hope it gets to here in the US. We really, really want to see it here. But in the meantime, I encourage everybody to check out all of your Instagram accounts. You're all doing such beautiful, beautiful work in the miniatures world. Thank you for being on this show, which showcases miniatures in a great way and really encourages people to see that it's not just about Dollhouse, although we love Dollhouse, it's about other things too. So thank you all for joining today. Thank you guys at home. Don't forget, we have another Meet the Miniaturists on Thursday night. Everybody have a great rest of your day and night or wherever you're joining from. Thank you. Bye, guys.
I see that it's Dara's birthday. Happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday.
All right. Good
Should we
night.
sing him happy birthday?
I would love to sing happy birthday.
Goodbye.